Hey, welcome. So in today's video, I like to talk about all the bad camera gear decisions that I made over the years, and I made a few. And there's a particular reason for why I keep making those bad decisions. All right, let's take a look. In this video, I'll talk broadly about camera gear, and that means that it will be the ecosystem, so not just only camera body and lenses. But first up is a lens, which is the 35mm focal length. It's the Sony 1.8 35mm FE. This is the first lens that I bought with my Sony a7C back in 2021. I made that decision based on my previous experience with this focal length, and the reason why I bought this focal length as my first lens was that I had this for many years on my Canon 800D. I had the 24mm pancake lens that is roughly equivalent of a 35mm, and I used it for many years, so it was an obvious choice for me to just go back and buy the 35mm. And also recently I bought the Fuji X100V, which has a fixed focal length, which is a 23mm, and that is roughly a 35mm equivalent as well. And I seem to love those focal lengths when I'm forced to use them, but the problem is that I have a little bit of love-hate relationship with this focal length, and I don't know why. And also recently I put this up for sale and I wanted to get rid of it. And I actually made a whole video about how this lens has been, and this focal length has been, the forgotten focal length for me. I don't really know why I don't use this focal length more, because I have the 85 that I absolutely love, and I have the 24mm, which has a certain purpose for a certain type of photography that I do, and I also use the 24 to film these videos. I have the 55mm Sony Zeiss, that is one of my top lenses, my favorite focal lengths as well. And I think if I have to do a little bit of analysis of why I am not loving this or picking this focal length up as much as some of the others, the reason might be that I have outgrown this focal length and the photos that I can make with this. I would still say if you're a beginner, this is the best focal length you can use to get started because it is so versatile. So it might be that I've outgrown it, and maybe it's because I have a certain need, then I'll pick it up. But especially for my Sony a7C, I don't use this enough. Alright, up next is the Polarizer, or the polarizing filter, which is basically a filter that reduces glare, and it's good for reflections to cut that out. So if you're doing car photography, you can remove the reflection from the car windows, or if you're out on the sea, you can really remove the glare. And also it can help intensify the blue sky even more. So it's a good filter if you have a specific need. And the reason why it was a bad camera gear decision for me was that I literally didn't know anything about filters when I bought it. I think I bought it for my Canon 800D, or I bought it for my Micro Four Thirds Olympus camera that I had for a short period of time. Another mistake that I made was that I bought it in the actual thread size. So this one is 52mm, and this is quite small. Which means that I cannot use it except exact 52mm thread. So I can use a step down lens, I cannot use a step up. That's a really bad decision as well. So this is virtually useless and I can't sell it. I've had it on sale for 2 years, I think, and I literally can't get rid of it. It didn't cost a lot of money, but it was just a bad decision. What I actually needed was a neutral density filter that I bought years later, once I actually really understood what my need was. So there's nothing wrong with the Polarizer, it's just I didn't have a need for it, and that's why it's a bad decision for me. Alright, up next is my tripods. I have quite a few tripods. I have these two mini tripods that I love having in my street kit. I also have a full-size tripod that I use. So tripods overall are a very handy tool to have. And the first one that I bought was this Manfrotto mini tripod. And it was not the most expensive one, and Manfrotto is a good brand, so I bought this mini tripod because I thought I had the need to buy a mini tripod. And later on I also bought this iPhone clamp. Over the years that I've had it, I think it's around 5+ years, it's not very sturdy. It can't really hold my camera, especially if I put a little bit of a front heavy lens on it. It just tips over, and I think the wear and tear of this, it can't really hold anything. So the only thing I can use it for now is my iPhone if I have to do those close-up shots, if I'm doing B-roll or something, but I really don't use it, so it's pretty much useless for me to use it and bring it with me. So that's why I decided to buy a better mini tripod again, because I really love having my tripod handy. So basically I bought this PGI Tech Mantis Pod 2, or maybe it's the original one. I think this is the original one that I bought. It was very expensive. I did a lot of research before I bought it, and I was convinced this was the right tripod for me because actually it can fit in my Wandered Rogue sling bag, which is only 3 liters. So I love having this with me. I normally don't pick it up as much, even though I have a need sometimes when I go out. And the only reason for that is that it is so difficult to use. It is so advanced. It has so many features. There are so many buttons on it. You can just literally press anything, everything on it. Like there's like locks up here. You can screw down and lock it. There's all kinds of features. The one thing I need a tripod is to be able to set it up quickly. I can't seem to do it. The only position I want it to be in is the normal one, and at one time I struggled with setting it up in its normal feature for 15 minutes, and I got so annoyed that I kept on going until I got it in the right position, because it can actually go down really low in the angle, which is really nice if you're doing those macro shots. So it was really frustrating standing there wanting to take a shot and you cannot literally use it because it was so difficult to remember all the features. It is super feature rich tripod. It can do a lot of things. And I had to go on YouTube to find a video that demonstrated how to put it in that specific position that I wanted this tripod to be. But yeah, that was a bad decision on my part. And I wish that I bought something more cheap. All right, up next are my camera straps. I owned quite a few camera straps. I bought different brands over the years, but there is one particular camera strap that I regret that I bought. It's from Black Rabbit. I bought it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and at the time it seems really cool and really didn't have all those options back then that we have now. The problem with this camera strap for me particular is that it's not super functional. It's just a hassle to put on, and my camera keeps dangling on the side, and I don't like that. And you have to kind of screw in the bottom, and it doesn't feel secure, even though it has a lot of very heavy duty screw things you can put on, and you know, the hooks and stuff like that. It looks really cool because it's like kind of a strap that sits up here and then you can secure it. You know, it feels like you're in a movie or something, and yeah, but it's not very functional, and I hate putting it on because you can actually put it on either on your left or right side, and I almost always put it on wrong, and I have to kind of stand there and put it on. It takes just forever to do, whereas my Peak Design sling is just super easy. You literally just put it on your camera, and then you're good to go. And I don't worry about it being, you know, not secure, or I'm afraid that I'm gonna drop it or anything. There's nothing like that. I'm completely safe with that strap. Yeah, so that was a bad camera gear purchase. All right, up next is a item that is super essential for every photographer out there, or every street photographer out there. So I'm talking about camera bags. So I have this camera bag from Wandered. It's a brand that I absolutely love, and this one is called the Provoke 21 liters. And yeah, it's gorgeous looking, it's very functional, it's very durable, and it's actually made with the photographer in mind, and I absolutely love it. I did tons of research on it. I watched a lot of reviews, and I bought it at a really good price, even though it's extremely expensive, and you have to buy the extra camera photography cube, so that's an additional cost to an already very expensive bag. But I was happy when I bought it because I really love having good quality items, and I rather spend more money buying something of quality than buying something that I have to buy maybe 2 or 3, 4 times over the years. But this particular bag, I am actually regretting I bought it, and that is because I don't use it enough. I believe when I bought it that I would travel more, I would use it more, but actually over the years I've gone in completely opposite direction, that I don't want to carry a lot of gear with me. I just want to go out with my camera, with the lens of choice for the day, and keep it as light as possible so I don't have to carry all that weight with me. Ultimately, I think this camera bag is for those who travel a lot, because you can really pack and organize and keep your gear really safe. It's just not for me, and the 21 liter is, for me personally, it's too big. It's just can get really heavy. Last year I had it with me on a company trip where we were going up north, and I bought my camera gear, of course, because I thought I have all the time in the world to go do street photography. And the bag just got really heavy, and it got big, and I didn't like it in terms of, you know, my own proportions and my frame, so it felt a little bit big. and wanted also have a lighter version of this camera bag, which I think would be better for my needs. Okay, so the next item is actually a little bit on the fringe side of photography. I'm talking about drone photography. I love drone photography. I love watching people use their drone to capture amazing moments, footage, photography, all that. And I went down the rabbit hole again, and I convinced myself I needed a drone. And after some research, I bought the DJI Mini 2. A great drone. It's a little bit better than a complete beginner drone. The drone had all the features and settings and whatnot that a gearhead like me would love. So I ended up buying it, and I've owned it for a year, and I think I used it 3 times. So I considered that a bad investment. And the reason why I don't use it are multiple. First of all, I live in the city, and there's a lot of restrictions on using a drone, and I have to go out a little bit outside of Copenhagen if I have to fully use my drone. The next thing is that I had a really hard time learning how to fly it. I think I was literally afraid of using it. It's when I was flying it and I was using it and to navigate, it just didn't feel right. It was taking a lot longer. Also because I didn't practice it, that's why. And after having it for a long while, I actually sold it. So I was very lucky that I got it sold for no loss at all. And that was a bad decision on my part, but I also took kind of the consequence of it. And for me personally, that was a good lesson to learn, that sometimes if you see something that you believe it looks really cool that other people are doing, that doesn't mean that it is for you. And the only way I could figure that out was buying it, trying it, and really figuring out that was really not for me. I'm not a drone pilot. I love other people's footage, I love other people's work, but that is just not for me. So that was a bad decision on my part. Alright, so let me wrap up this video by saying that all of us make bad decisions, and all of us can make bad camera gear decisions. And I certainly made a few over the years. And I think the number one reason for me personally has been that I didn't know what my need was. I didn't have the needed knowledge of using that gear. Also, when I bought it, it was more of an impulsive decision rather than something that I really need. So what I've done over the years is also really understand my need and only buy stuff and gear when I really need it. But hopefully, this video also proves that it's perfectly normal as you grow as a street photographer that you will make some decisions that you thought might be it. And it might be the right for that moment or for a short amount of time, and then you move on from that, which is perfectly fine. This is how we learn and develop and grow, like in anything in life. All right, enough wise words from me. Thank you for being here. Take care. See you in the next one.